My name is Rich Truesdell here at the Hurst Carlisle Nationals, which is part of the Mopar Nationals. And this is one of the very significant cars in the Hurst history. This is a 1972 Hurst Oldsmobile Convertible. I'd like to introduce Bruce Smith. He's the owner of the car, and I'm going to let Bruce tell the real significance of the car.
My name is Bruce Smith. I'm the owner of the 72 Hurst Oldsmobile Convertible parade car. This is car number 37 out of 42. This car was issued to Miss Toni Sexton, who was the executive director of Indianapolis Motor Speedway in 1972. This was used in the parade and the parade lap, and in the car were Bobby Unser, Peter Refson, and Mark Donohue. Bobby Unser won the pole that year. Mark Donohue won the race. The car is pretty much back to its original condition. Has the his and her slapstick shifter, tilt steering, all the options. The cars were all loaded, the ones that were parade cars for Indianapolis. Power windows, power door locks, AM FM stereo, full gauges. Has the very rare outside thermometer, which is very rare in the Oldsmobile.
This is Jim McKee's car, one of the recognized experts on the A design and B design Hurst Scramblers. This was the swan song for the 1964 to 1969 Rambler Americans Rogues. This is basically started as a Rogue hardtop, and Hurst made a number of modifications on 512 cars. The first 500 cars were the A scheme, which is that design over there, bigger, bolder billboards on the side of the car. And it was so successful. Remember Rambler's stodgy image in the 1960s. Those 500 cars went, so they then decided to build another 500 cars, and they added the little bit more restrained B design, red stripes and blue stripes. These cars started out as V8 4-speed cars, and AMC never offered the 390 V8 in the small compact Rambler Americans and Rogues. So that was done by Hurst, and they then modified other elements of the car, the wheels, the stripes, the badges, and most importantly, we call this the mail slot hood. These cars had a Hurst shifter in them, obviously. All the cars were 4-speeds. There were no factory-built automatics. These cars were $29.95, a wonderful example of AMC totally reversing their image. And these cars came out at the time, the year after the Javelin and the 2-seat AMX that was based on the Javelin were introduced. This is a 1984 Hurst Olds, and this was at a time when we were just coming out of the malaise era. Performance was reasserting itself, and these cars personified one of the highest performing American-made cars, and it continued the collaboration between Hurst and Oldsmobile. Inside is a different variation of the Hurst shifter. This is an automatic transmission equipped car, but it has 3 sticks. And this is how we defined performance in the 1980s. This is a sunroof car, very distinctive silver, red, and black striped car. I don't know how many of them were built, but it was a fairly significant amount, and this was probably the hottest Oldsmobile you could buy at the time. This is the modern day Hurst Heritage, brought to the 21st century. These cars have been designed and developed by a friend of mine, Larry Weiner from Mr. Norm's group, and Larry's going to tell you about this car and what the significance of it is.
Thanks, Rich. It's a pleasure to be here at the Hurst Nationals in Carlisle. This car here next to us is the Hurst Heritage by GSS. It's the Hemi Classic Edition. And the reason we call it that is if you look at the paint scheme, and those of you with a historical context will recognize this original paint scheme from the 65 Hurst Hemi under glass.
That's right.
And I thought it'd be fun to bring it forward here into the 21st century to celebrate what next year in 18 will be the 60th anniversary of Hurst. and the 50th anniversary of many of the cars that are Hurst is so well known for,
Iconic cars.
Iconic cars like the 68 Hurst Olds 442, the first year, or the 68 Hurst Hemi Dart and Hemi Cuda, or even the Mr. Norms 440 M-Co Darts that were built by Hurst. You know, one of the great things about this car is, in a salute to grand tradition, this is a 6-speed manual trans car, and let's look inside. Let's take a peek. And oh, lo and behold, what do we got? A real Hurst shifter with a genuine white cue ball. This is such tradition that dates all the way back to the 1960s, what people grew up with. If you look on the center console, we even recreated, under license from Hurst, the original warning stickers that say shift as hard as you like, but don't break your arm. And that's a label that used to come with the original Competition Plus shifters all the way back into the mid to early 60s. And I thought, what a cool touch for modern cars.
The Hurst Heritage cars are not limited to just Mopars. Larry has extended the GSS brand, these Hurst cars, to a Ford Mustang. So we'll walk over here. Larry, why don't you tell a little bit about what's under the hood of this car?
One of the great things about doing modern muscle is that the adaptability, thanks to computer technology and engineering, enables us to do things that we couldn't even have dreamt of back in the 60s. And I'm old enough to remember the 60s, so I'm speaking from firsthand knowledge. Starts with a 5.0 liter Coyote engine. And when you think of Hurst and you think of gentlemen's hot rods, inevitably you're still thinking about performance. 455, 442s were not slouches. Well, I'll guarantee you this car is no slouch either. And let me show you what's under the hood, because you're going to be in for a big surprise. This wild stain is, lo and behold, is 750 galloping horsepower. Kenny Bell supercharged, runs on 91 octane California unleaded, and is 50 state street legal. This is a 6-speed car as well, and it's a wonderful example of modern technology where Hurst is alive and thriving in the 21st century, and these two cars are living proof of that.